Welcome to Next Gen Tech Talk. We have Dennis with us today, and we are going to have the exciting conversation around AI. And I'd rather say not AI, what is AI, but maybe how we are practicing, how that is impacting us, what are the learning we have so far. So we will have those touch points today. So how are you doing today, Dennis?
I'm doing very good, thanks, Ashok. Thanks for having me on. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to
Okay.
we've worked together before and it's been a while, so it's nice to catch up.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here, Dennis. So back in time when we worked together, I think those point of time it was very manual coding, all human touch, right? We used to
Yeah,
think longer hours around the solution, and I think
yeah,
even in the future, things will be the similar. It's not like we are going to learn AI. We need to think around the solutioning because code definitely it will be managed or taken care by the AI tools, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start like this, Dennis. I have a quick question for you. If you
Sure.
were starting your software engineering career today in AI era, what would
hmm
you learn differently?
What would I learn differently?
Yeah.
I think architecture is very important, in the job going forward, like having an understanding of how systems are built and fit together. So, you know, like obviously, advice I would give is like the basics are still very important, but
Hmm.
understanding, how a overall system is put together because our job is becoming more like a software architect, obviously the AI is now able to, do pretty well with writing code. So
Right.
it's more of an understanding of the overall system. And that's how we kind of work with AI to kind of build tools. And,
Hmm.
it's a very exciting, time to be a developer. I think, especially, people that want to build kind of solo projects and stuff like that, it's
Right.
it's enabling people to build kind of full projects a lot quicker, but like an understanding of how systems work, how, right through from the application to database side to, deployment, how an application fits together like that is really important in the AI age. And I
Hmm.
mean, like at the end of the day, it is a tool that we use, but like I think one of the things is, as we develop things, like it's still important, obviously, to be reviewing the code and going
Hmm.
through everything. AI is a tool, but it can make mistakes, and I've seen that, even in
Yeah.
recent weeks.
Right.
It's important that the developers are, checking the code, making sure they understand everything. So, when I'm developing these days, I will ask it to summarize everything. If I'm working with an agent, to summarize everything that it's going to build, ask it to
Hmm.
make a plan, and then review that before it goes and builds the code. And then, once it is done, whatever task it's done, I'll ask it to summarize and go through. And then almost like doing a code review with a developer, I kind of go through the code. So I
Right.
mean, it's a completely different sort of work process to, back in the day, as I said, when things were more manual.
Hmm.
Um, but as I said, with any new technology, it's for people that
Right.
stay ahead of the curve, it's going to be really, really really exciting
Right.
time to be a developer. So yeah.
Right. Right. So as you have mentioned, Dennis, and that is the key thing which we need to understand these days. AI do mistakes nowadays. If you are using any of the tool, like service provider, they have themselves, mentioned it very clearly. Earlier,
hmm
actually, it was not visible for the users, but now it says that AI may do mistakes. And the same thing which you have just called out, that as a developer, even we are doing some solutioning, doing coding, or maybe working around the best solution architecture and stuff like that. So
hmm
according to you, if I may ask, like, have you ever calculated tentatively, like, how much effort still required from a human or developer, whereas AI is doing the rest of the part, like quick code generation? for
Yeah.
example, right? Even
Hmm.
you, if you are defining the what are the things you want to build, so it may create a good database schema as well, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So have you ever calculated, like, suppose back in time, suppose you used to take 100 hours to do one job. So how much time in today's era uh, you get involved and you put in your time building something
Hmm. Yeah.
versus AI do your work, does your work for you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, it
Mm,
has, I mean, just working in projects and work, like the timelines have reduced drastically, which is great. It's exciting because you can kind of build large applications very quickly. And for people that
mm,
enjoy kind of, taking an idea and seeing that come to real life with an application, it's really exciting.
mhm,
Um, but it's at the end of the day, there's still a lot of input needed. Like recently, for example, I was asking it to build a middleware function to authenticate from a third-party application.
mhm,
It built that function to take in like a secret from that application, but the way in which it built it was hard coding a lot of stuff into the function, and there is a lot of pressure on developers to get things done quickly. And if a developer just builds that, asks it to build that function and moves on, they're gonna miss something. Whereas I went
mm,
back and said, look, you're putting stuff in, you're hard coding stuff into the function. We should really build this as a more general use function. We may
mhm,
have other sort of webhooks, tying into this function, so we should make it a bit more. And then the AI said, "Oh yes, I can see where you're coming from." So like these are the sort of things that obviously need input from a developer to be able to go through and kind of suggest to the AI. But I mean, it is amazing in terms of how quickly it is allowing developers to build things. So even outside of work, I've been working on a side project,
mhm,
which is a JavaScript learning platform. So I've been a JavaScript developer now for over 20 years. So I've built a learning platform which kind of encompasses different things like React, Angular, Node, and stuff like that.
mm,
I mean, before, you'd probably be looking at spending like a year to a year and a half building an application like that. Whereas with AI, I was able to build within a few months, which is it's exciting for me. There's pros and cons to AI. So I think something I miss is sitting down and writing code. I used to love sitting down and writing code and putting on some music and sitting down for a couple of hours and just logically solving problems. And that's changed now, obviously, because AI does a lot of that. But in terms of the pros, if I have an idea, I can kind of see that idea come to fruition a lot quicker than, before. So, there's a lot of
yeah,
trade-offs with it, but it is, I mean, it's amazing that how quickly we can get things done. And it's the
right,
same. The company that I work in is they're pushing very AI first, and
mhm,
the timelines for the projects that we were working on, and again, something that maybe would have taken a year to 2 years to build a
yeah,
full project is
that's
now
true.
coming in under a year to half a year. So
Mm,
yeah.
that's correct. Okay, so one thing definitely we still say that now we got a helping hand, right?
Hmm.
So in terms of AI tools and technologies.
Yeah.
So if may I ask you, maybe what is your learning so far from the AI and tools, and not learning meaning how you are implementing, how you are leveraging, is
Hmm.
meaning what is the difference, or maybe what are the area which you wanted to share with all the viewers, that
Hmm.
what are the key area they should be taking precaution as a lesson learned from your side.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, like as I said there, like it is very good at like getting
Hmm.
code done quickly, but it doesn't sometimes think of the overall picture, as I said. So and especially if you're asking an agent to build a specific part of an application,
Hmm.
it can look at other parts, but like it doesn't take everything into consideration. And that's where I said like obviously the architecture and like
Right.
knowing how things fit together and how things work together. Like
Hmm.
it's still going to need a developer to know those sort of best practices and know like the basics. And I'm sure like it will get better, but like that's really where taking the time to to look through and take into consideration like that overall application
Mhm.
and how that fits together is really important. I think there is a lot of pressure as well on developers these days with AI to
Right.
get done think get things done really quickly, right? So I mean, I
Correct.
think we need to be careful as well because companies are pushing it and it is great because it is obviously a very advanced tool that we're able to use to do things
Mm.
quickly. But I think the more pressure there is put on developers, sometimes it can be, used in a wrong way where people just ask it to build something and then they kind of move on to the next thing. So it
Right.
really is important that people are, taking the time and like also speaking to their managers as well, saying like, yeah, things are going to be done quicker, but at the end of the day, it still needs a human developer to come in, look at the code that
Absolutely.
it's writing, and look at the overall picture, and make sure that it's. See, the thing is, if we don't do that, then the application codes in a couple of years' time are going to become an absolute mess, and it's going to be very difficult to kind of work with those systems. So yeah, so I think that's
Yeah.
that's a really
I
important point.
agree. Yeah, I agree with you. Okay. So, which AI tool you use the most?
Yeah, so Copilot is what we use
Okay.
in work, and that's what I use in my personal development as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
so, so it's really great, and like in work, we have access to all of the models.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean that's it's interesting. It's like pair programming with somebody back in the day, but a very
Right.
quick, very good developer. And it's interesting. I always find it interesting when you're working with an agent and you can see its thought process. In the
Correct.
chat window, you can see that it's thinking about things, which is really interesting to see. It's actually like a human kind of thinking through things. And I would suggest as well, I always, keep an eye on what it's doing because you can kind of see its thought process even before it comes back with answers, and you can kind of,
Mm.
use that as well. Sometimes I can see it thinking about something, and I'm like, no, 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 you're going the wrong direction with that.
Mm.
And I like the fact as well nowadays you can actually type in, and it steers the conversation based on, what so you can see it thinking, and you can say, actually, no, that's not what I'm thinking about. The way you're thinking about it is the wrong way, and you can give it a response in the midterm, and then kind of it then develops a new way of doing it. So, but
Right.
yeah, it's a great tool.
Correct. Correct. So one of the things came to my mind, Dennis, that these days many of developers, even lead, they used to interact with me, and they have very peculiar question, saying that many times project manager, business owner, or client, they
Mm-hmm.
started arguing and debating on the timeline, and the key point they used to use is, hey, now you have AI, why you are talking about 1 month timeline or maybe 2 weeks of time? It can be done quickly, something like
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
So
yeah,
having said that, now if you are interacting with such managers or maybe client, and you are hearing the similar type of conversation, so how you are going to react? Like, have you
yeah.
already done it, or I just want to hear from you, like how you are going to handle such situation.
Yeah, I mean, this we're all learning this because it's still very new, and
Hmm.
it's just education. I think there is, as I said, this sort of expectation that everything is just going to get done so quickly, and it's that's just going to organically kind of people are going to learn that no, there's still a lot kind of work for developers to do. As I said, I mean, if you're doing it properly, what you're doing is getting the
Hmm.
AI to build the code, and that's very quick, but you're having to spend a lot of time reviewing things unless people want systems that aren't going to be optimal, in a couple of years' time, and
Right.
you just want to let the AI go ahead and write all the code, that's fine. But like as I said, in my recent experience, like it's getting things wrong and it needs direction. So, and that's
Right.
like it is just a conversation that companies need to have, and it needs to be a conversation between developers and the project
Correct.
managers. I think, yeah, I think there is sometimes this expectation of, well, now you've got AI, so like this thing should just be done.
Mm,
Like what's
that's
taking
correct.
so long? And I think it's just an
Hmm.
educational thing. I think that will be something that people will work out more in companies. Um, yeah, and I mean, look,
Yeah.
it's a good thing that people are trying to push people to get the best out of them with AI. but there needs to be, and developers need to just, push back when they feel like they need more time with things. I think that's always a thing in companies. It's like this trust system between, project managers, why something takes so long. But I think if you can just articulate, that there's like absolutely a lot of human kind of interaction
Mm,
that's still needed to make sure that these systems are built. And in terms of security and stuff like that,
right.
there's a lot of concerns, right, with AI, like in terms of
Absolutely.
especially
Absolutely.
the
Agree.
security of applications, and like that needs to
Exactly.
come back at the end of the day to a person, because if something goes wrong with your application or there's a big security
Mm,
mishap, that's going to come back to the developer. So people need to spend time and make sure the systems are built in a correct manner and a secure manner as well. So
yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's all depend on the use case also, Dennis.
yeah.
A person you have asked to develop a simple website. That is
Hmm.
one use case. Now, even non-tech guy, they have started using the tools differently for their use cases. For example,
Yeah.
someone want to create a quick PPT, right? Or
Hmm.
some level of summary for talking points in the meetings. So those are the
Hmm.
also quick use cases where different professionals uses AI tools. Now, once it comes to the enterprise level development, right?
Hmm.
So for example, you are developing a product, and then your mindset is altogether different. Still your
Hmm.
human planning remains the same, like
Yeah.
the steps, what is first you are going to do, whether you are going to work on the business requirement and do all due diligence, whether it's related to the integration, data
Hmm.
metrics, and all those stuff, right? So
Yeah.
many things remain same. This is just the mindset, and as you have rightly mentioned, that is all about the education. Slowly, people will get educated with all this stuff, whether it's related to the security, if it is related to the timeline, like
Hmm.
what are the things, how these all use cases work back to back, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
even simple things which you want to get the output from the AI tools, your prompt should be strong enough, right? So you need to
Yes. Yeah.
describe what you are looking for. So similarly, even you
Exactly.
are writing a program, so that should be also interconnected with all your logics. But who is going to build all those logics, right? So there, I
Yeah.
think human matters, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
in addition to what you said there, I think one kind of interesting thing, and again, this is all a learning experience because it's new, but one of the recent projects that I did in work, we spent a
Mm-hmm.
lot of time up front when it was a new application. We
Mm-hmm.
spent a lot of time up front building documentation. So FRDs,
Yeah.
functional requirement
Mm,
documents. So we worked with the project lead, but obviously outline what the application was going to be. We'd spend a huge
right.
amount, like we spent days working on documentation that we then fed into the AI.
Correct.
And the AI then had that list of functional requirement documents from the very beginning. So
Mm-hmm.
that's like really important, is to build a good base if you're building a new application.
Right.
And then the AI has all those functional requirement documents as it's doing anything, and you have it constantly refer, anything that it's doing is filtered through those functional requirement documents. So it's keeping an overall picture on
Mm,
things like and not just functional requirement documents for different parts of the application, but also security requirements. So like
yeah.
if I was giving advice to a developer working on an application, I would say, spend time building documentation, spend time, building out rules for the AI, for your application,
Mm-hmm.
stuff that's important for your
Right.
company in terms of security requirements, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
how the programming is built, best practices. Spend time on that, a good base
Mm-hmm.
for the application, and then have the AI use that as it's building. It's really, really important, I think, going forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because more you are going to, get the code from the AI, more you are, tend to get exposed, right? Because many
Yeah.
times you get the junk code as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
once you
Absolutely.
are
Yeah.
going to the various security parameter, whether it's ethical hacking or ISD, so you need to understand those all check and balances.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, you are in a loop, fixing all those bugs, and top of that, you are generating new bugs. So related to the security side of it, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, so it's not that straightforward, but I'm sure. We are in an era where we are getting larger support with these AI tools, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So once you generate the context, so you are getting the responses automatically. So
Hmm.
those are the, I think, things definitely is getting mature day by day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so Dennis, what is your future plan? Like, are you, do you think that development is going to take a different type of leap in near future? If I may ask you, for next 2 years.
Next 2 years, yeah. I mean,
Mm,
it's interesting. It's just changing so quickly. It's hard to see, exactly where it's going to go. But I mean, I think there's a lot of worry out there. There's developers kind of saying, "Oh, well,
mm,
is my job going to be redundant in a couple of years?" I mean,
yeah.
I don't think so. I think, to be honest, I'm very optimistic about it. I feel like any new technology, there's always going to be great
Mm-hmm.
opportunities for people who actually, stay ahead of the curve. I think the
Yeah.
thing is not to get, I don't know, like kind of don't have a negative mind about it. Like this is a great opportunity for people. And for
Right.
example, I was telling you that I'm building my own side project.
Mm-hmm.
Before AI, I would never have had the time after I come home from work to,
That's
as I
true.
said, if you're building an application that takes a year, like, and then you have to spend the evening time. I have two kids, whereas with AI, like, it's a great opportunity for me as a solo developer to be able to go and build that application and to learn
Right.
about other things as well, like marketing that application, stuff that I wouldn't, obviously in my work, we have a marketing team. But if I'm
Mm-hmm.
a solo developer and trying to market my application, like AI is able to help me with that as well. So there
That's
is
the
a lot of,
advantage. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. There's pros and cons to any new technology, and it's always been the way. Even like with the advent of the internet, there's been a great opportunity, and things change for people. With that, like like just even with like the internet and stuff like that, like people, for example, if you're talking about like administration, like forms that would have been filled out,
Mm-hmm.
manually, then went to the internet. I'm not talking about the technology sector, but like things changed massively. But then there was great opportunity. So I think for developers, if you can have a positive kind of outlook on it and look at the positives, and there is, it's for people that really learn to use it well
Mm.
and stay
Mm.
ahead with it. I think there's going to be great opportunities. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. One advice which you'd like to share with students uh, who are going to hit the industry very soon. So
Yeah.
any advice which you would like to give to them?
Yeah, I mean, like as I said, like the basics are still
Yeah.
extremely
Essential.
important. I mean, you still need that
Mm.
underlying. Yes, maybe you're going to be writing less code, but like
Mm.
understanding those basic, programming concepts, right through to, these days, as I said, like you're looking more at being like a software architect, so
Mm.
understanding the whole flow, not just from the application code, but right
Right.
through to the kind of DevOps. Have a
Mm.
good overall picture of like building an application through to, deployment and stuff like that, and have a good overall picture of software architecture. That's still going to be the most important thing because as I said, the roles are moving more from like sitting down and writing code to kind of the
Mm.
overall picture and looking how the systems fit together in terms of like the application database,
Right.
um, the like the load balancers, all of that sort of thing, like understanding all like how an application works from beginning to end is going to be really
Mm.
important. So and yeah, I mean, as I said, for new developers, I think it's a really exciting time. Like
Mm.
you can get from a concept through to a finished product really kind of
Right.
much quicker with a lot of help, obviously as well. But then, as I said, understanding those basics and being able to, you know,
Remain same. Yeah.
yeah, like being able
Yeah.
to, go through the code that's been written and understand
Mm.
that and make sure that you understand what's been written before you move on. Don't, have AI build something and then go, yeah, that looks okay and
Yeah.
move on. Understand it, make sure you understand the code and make sure that
Mm-hmm.
you're able to, question it and go back and say, is there a better way of doing this? Stuff like that. So yeah, I would say.
Right. Yeah. So well said, Dennis. Actually, even on next Gen Tech Talk, Next Gen Tech Talk, I have interacted with many of the students from university.
Okay.
So I got mixed responses. Students are very, fundamentally, as you have rightly mentioned, that basic is very important. So they are working around that.
Yeah.
That yes, syllabus is appropriate because that is not going to change. Still, you need to go through the same curriculum what we had some time back, right? But many of the Gen Z, they think that in AI era, why I need to go through the basics, because just a wastage of time. And anyways, I am going to interact with the tool. So what is the meaning
Hmm.
of learning the basics of the engineering? Because it's simple, like I'm going to write a prompt and AI is going to give me the code and I will be able to build the application.
Hmm.
So it's a mixed messaging from students these days. So and that is the one reason, Dennis, that I have been forced to host this type of conversation, that where professionals and this developers uh, share their views, like what is important. But so
Hmm.
far, in my opinion, and I think uh, you have already advised to the student and viewers, so that is very important, and this is not gonna change. That
No,
remains same. You
no,
have to go through the basic. You don't have
100%.
an option. Yeah,
Yeah, that's not going to change.
yeah,
Obviously, as I said, building things will be easier, but if you don't have the core understanding, that's going to
yeah.
be a massive problem, and that's going to lead to the sort
Right.
of, issues that plague applications that just aren't built correctly or built well, and that will still happen with
Right.
AI. So yeah, understanding the
Absolutely.
basics.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So with this, I think this is the right message for the student, that guys, don't miss the basics. If
Yeah.
you want to stand, different from others, and when I'm saying different means impactful for the
Yeah.
business, so definitely you must understand the nitty-gritty and the basics, right?
Yeah.
With that,
Yeah.
definitely you can do wonders, because
Yeah.
you are going to accelerate your work with AI. It's not
Yeah.
like you have been replaced by AI and they will do all the job and you are sitting idle. That is not going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with yeah. Okay, I think we are at the end of conversation, Dennis. Nice talking to you. I must say that viewers, students, they are going to have something meaningful from our conversation on this episode.
Great.
So good luck for your future, Dennis. Thank you very much for joining Next Gen Tech Talk today.